All right, so we are continuing with the amazing teachings of Rabbi Nachman of Breslov in the Sefer Sichos Haran, and we're up to Torah 13, Sicha 13, Yud Gimel, and this is an amazing teaching. We're going to be learning tonight. We're going to be learning Yud Gimel, Yud Dalet, 13 and 14, and we're going to see they're a little bit interconnected. That Rabbi Nachman, he doesn't want us to be too calm, okay? That, sometimes we have the teachers, we have the mentors, we have the friends that are just like, it's gonna be okay, you're fine, you're perfect, you're just the way you need to be. And tonight's class is going to be a little bit of a different vibe. Tonight's class is going to be a little bit of a what's going on with you? Come on, go. And there's what to be said for certain stress, for a certain pressure, and that there's something powerful about the ability to get ourselves moving. And there's something dangerous. There's something dangerous about complacency, and there's something dangerous about just being okay and just constant embracing ourselves and constantly that you're perfect exactly the way you are. And so it's a little bit of a different vibe than we're used to. Like there's a famous joke that the Tanya, so he called his book the Sefer of Beinanim, the Sefer for people in the middle. And so they say that the Tanya is the Sefer for Beinanim, and the Dam Melech, so he's the Sefer for Tzadikim, because he talks about the koach of the tzaddik and the levels of the tzaddik. And so the Kuti Maran, Rabbi Nachman, he's the Sefer for Rishayim. Okay, so for the people who are not so beinanim, the people who are not so in the middle, people who are just completely failing in every way, so which is usually us. So that's what we need Rabbi Nachman. Rabbi Nachman is always telling us, it's okay, guys, it's not so bad. I was there too. Just keep on. Just don't give up. And there's something to that. But for tonight, so he's going to show that it's more complex than that. There's also another side. There's another side of the coin, and there's a place for a beauty of something which is not just so accepting. And there was he stopped coming here, but there was an amazing rabbi that used to come to Nachlaot, and he was a musician, and he would do an hour of singing, and an hour of teaching, and an hour of singing, and he would get 200 people twice a week to stay for 3 hours. That's insane. That's almost insane. And he was like a magnet. He was like a Pied Piper. And so what was his thing? That his Torah was Torah of that you're perfect just the way you are. And so everybody loves to hear that, because it doesn't really invite you to grow. It doesn't really inspire you. It doesn't really there's no kick in the pants. There's no push. There's no inspiration to, I need to stop. Tomorrow is going to be different. And then it's all about, that's just what I wanted to hear. Now I can go back to sleep. And so it was it's amazing how he was so popular, because the content was so uninspiring / inspiring. It didn't inspire anybody to change because that was the whole vibe of what he was teaching. And so Rabbi Nachman is reminding us that that's actually not enough. Okay, so what am I talking about? So he says like this. This is in Sicha Yud Gimel. Yesh anashim kshevim she'en lehem parnasa. There's people that they can't make a living. They don't know where they're going to pay rent from. Okay, they don't they're practical. They don't know. They don't know where they're gonna buy Shabbos from. Somebody was there's some people some people really need to learn this Torah. Some people they get into a mentality that it's okay not to do anything and just expect things to fall into place, expect things to and I know somebody was telling me about this person that she doesn't do anything. She basically sleeps the whole day, and she asks for donations for food for Shabbos, and hello, what should you do? You should do something with your life. This is not healthy. This is not what Hashem wants from you. Anyway, so there's people that they don't have parnasa. They can't finish the month. Dochak ubilbulim. Okay, this is two topics that we're going to be talking about. There's two issues, two problems of what happens from financial stress. The first of all, dochak. Dochak means stress, and bilbulim means confusion. Gidolim, they have great stress and great confusion. Miza, v'hu tova laholam, and this is so precious. This is so awesome. This is so amazing that they have stress and that they have confusion. V'da, sheyesh diburim yikarim, that there are such precious words, shiyotzim ayidei bubulim daika, that the only way that they can come out, the only way that they can be revealed, be expressed, is only through these bilbulim, is only through confusion. But there's different kinds of confusions. Like it says in the Midrash, now he starts talking about a certain sleep. Now he starts talking metaphorically about tardema, which means sleep. He says at the end, tardema hu bilbul adas. So he says that metaphorically, sleep means that your seichel is not there. That you're not. It's not 100. It means when you're sleeping, it means you're confused. Okay, like person half awake. So like you're like what are you doing? I don't know. Like when you're half sleeping, you're confused. So sleeping represents confusion, and so the Midrash says that there's two kinds of sleep. There's two kinds of tardema. There's tardema shal nevuah, k'ma shekatuv v'hatardema nafal al Avram. That there's one kind of tardema, there's one kind of sleep, which is a sleep from which prophecy comes. And that's what happened to Abraham. There's another kind of sleep that's called tardema shashtus, a sleep, a slumber of stupidity. That you're sleeping through life because you're just dumb. Okay, that's a different kind of stuff. Sometimes you can be sleeping and it's a good thing. Sometimes you can be sleeping and it's a bad thing. And so there's different realities that through which a person could have this bilbul adas, this confusion. And so he says that confusion can sometimes be a bad thing. It can sometimes bring you to a bad place, and sometimes it can be very beautiful. Okay, so I want to talk about what is Rabbi Nachman saying, that there's these two things that he says can have a good side and a bad side. They can be positive and negative. One is confusion, and one is dochak. Dochak means stress. Okay, so first let's talk about confusion. So there's something beautiful about confusion. Something beautiful about being confused. What could this possibly mean? So first of all, that if anybody ever learned the Tanya, the book from the first Lubavitcher Rebbe, so it's very interesting. The way he starts his book is with a series of questions, and he has different contradictions, and he asks things that at first glance they make sense, but then he says, well, hold on a second, but that doesn't make sense. If you do that, then they take that to its proper extension, and it's something ridiculous. And he keeps it's like loads and loads of questions. He brings gemaras, he brings contradictions, and it's very textual, and it's very based on assuming that you know things, based on assuming that you're familiar with these gemaras, and then only in the middle of the chapter does he take a step back. He says, okay, now let's talk. Now let me explain. The person needs to know that you have two souls, and there's this kind of soul, this kind of soul, then he starts teaching you what he wants to teach you. So why do you need that first page and a half? The first page and a half is just a list. It's like he's shooting at you question after question, and so this is a style that was very prevalent back in the day, and the truth is that even it's still prevalent in yeshivas, that the official way, the popular way to give a shir klali is to give I don't know how you translate shir klali into English. It's like the big presentation that the Rosh Hashiva gives every week. So the official style is that you start with a series of questions. You start with a series of questions. Like everybody learned the same Gemara. So you just shoot out 5 or 6 questions, and then you start analyzing a certain element, a certain idea, and then you say that, like, well, maybe you could look at it like this, maybe you could look at this, and then after analyzing the idea enough, then you go back to those questions, and then you say, oh, and now we can understand why this is actually answered, and this is actually answered. So what's up with this style? Why is this? Why do people do this? So it's very simple, because anybody that's talking to you, so they need you to have attention. They need to perk your interest. They want you, like anybody who's like making videos. Like the first 30 seconds make a huge difference. You need to get the person in. That there's so many things. There's so many other videos are trying to get their attention, and if you're not going to hook them in, so then they're gonna flip to the next video. So it's critical. It's critical to make him, to sell him, to have this hook and anchor that you're going to get him in. And so this is the way that they would hook people in. Okay, how would they hook people in? By confusing them. Okay, it's a style that I need to get you to listen to me. How am I going to get you to listen to me? Because first of all, I need to prove to you that you're confused. Because if you're not confused, so then why should you listen to me? You know everything that you need to know. So what do I need to do? First, I need to confuse you. It sounds so manipulative. First, I need to confuse you, and then once I've succeeded in confusing you, then I say, so you really don't know what you're doing in life, right? Really, you don't maybe you shouldn't be Jewish. Maybe you should just give up. Maybe you should commit suicide. Maybe you should you're completely confused now. So now you need to listen to me. So now I can take you. Now I've got you captive. So now I've proven to you that I have something that you want to know. Right. So this is why the Tanya starts with questions. This is why Sichos started with questions. That the purpose of the question is that a person that thinks that they understand is never going to listen. They aren't in a situation that they feel that they have anything that they need to know. Of course, I can be entertained. Of course, if there's some rabbis that the way that they give over information is simply because they're entertainers, because they're stand-up comedians and they know how to say the right jokes and they know how to say the funny stories and they're very entertaining. And but that's not what the Tanya was doing. That's not what most people are they don't feel the need to sell themselves like that. I want you to actually want to know what I want to see. I don't want you to walk away from the class that was entertaining. I want you to walk away from the class thinking that, wow, now I look at life differently. Now I realized that the way I looked at life before was so off. It was so superficial. It was so immature. And now I have a new way of looking at life. Now I've become wiser. So the only way that you're actually going to become wiser is only if you realize that there was something that you thought you understood that you didn't understand. And so this is why the questions is such a beautiful thing. To have a question means that now I'm ready to expand my horizons. Now I'm ready to understand something that I didn't understand before, because as long as I think I'm good, most of us, most of our day, we walk around thinking that we basically got it. We basically understand a thing or two. Maybe Nachlaot is the exception, that I'm just completely lost, but that's okay because I smoke weed. We usually think that we're okay, and then Rabbi Nachman says that it's nice to be confused. It's nice to hear something that's going to confuse you is really very beautiful, because that's the way that your brain is going to expand. That's the way that you're going to become something else. And so the Rabbi Nachman has a beautiful teaching that there's sometimes that in the Gemara, so there's a way that they refer to a question that there is no answer to. Okay, that there's sometimes the Gemara asks certain questions, and that sometimes the Gemara answers it, and sometimes the Gemara just leaves it. It's like a tragic ending. They're like, I don't know. Yeah, we have a Mishnah, we have a teaching, and then but hold on a second, but what about this? And the Gemara will sometimes say, Kashya. Kashya means, that's a good question. At the end, that's a good question. That's the end. And this is a fascinating thing on many levels. It's a fascinating thing on many levels because like this shows you the difference between the Gemara and the Shulchan Aruch. The Shulchan Aruch that's against the rules. And if you're learning Shulchan Aruch, the Shulchan Aruch is not allowed to say, I never thought of that. That Shulchan Aruch is, this is what you should do. If this falls into this, then it's mutter, it's kosher. If this is on Shabbos, you're allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do this. But if it's like that, then it's okay. But hold on a second. But what about what you said over there? I don't know. That doesn't exist. Like a Shulchan Aruch is just a list of rules, a list of how to Judaism 101. It's a list of giving instructions. And Gemara, on the other hand, is not like that. Gemara, on the other hand, is a discussion. It's really not about how to live Jewish, but rather the Gemara is about understanding. It's a conversation, and because it's a conversation, so it's okay if we don't have a bottom line, because it's all about the dynamic. It's all about the give and take. So when the Gemara says kasha, sometimes the Gemara will say like that's a good question. That's a good question, and so like that, then it's always confusing. What are you supposed to do now? Like should I? Like, maybe the Gemara is waiting for me to answer it. Maybe for 2,000 years we didn't know what the answer is, and then comes Kilstein and he's going to say what the answer. But then you say, okay, so you have your answer, and then you ask yourself, that's it. Can I think why they wouldn't want to say that? Maybe that, and then I can say, yeah, you're right. Really, I was wrong, and that's why it's really. But it can't be off because it's actually. And so you don't know what to do. So Rabbi Nachman writes that the word kasha is an acronym, and if you take the first letters of the pasuk Shema Hashem Koli Akra, Shema Hashem Koli Akra, and you reorganize it, Shema Hashem Koli Akra, Hashem is with a yud, so Shin, Yud, Kuf, Aleph. So if you rearrange those letters, Shema Hashem Koli Akra, then it's kasha. So really, akasha, when you're asking a question, so then that's another way of saying, Hashem, I need you. That Hashem, hear my call, hear my cry, and because akasha, when you really have a question, when you're really confused, so then that's a cry out to Hashem. Or in other words, that as long as I understand, as long as things make sense, so then I really don't need Hashem. When do I need Hashem? When I'm confused. So it's so beautiful to be confused, because if I'm not confused, I don't need Hashem. So I need to be confused, because if I'm not confused, then I'm not going to need Hashem. So this is what Rabbi Achim means, that there's something beautiful from this confusion. When I feel very lost, so then I can, he says that there's diburim yikavim, that there's these precious words that only come out as a result of my confusion. Or in other words, that sometimes a person can think that they know what they're doing with their life. And so because they were taught from age 0 that the purpose of life is to have a good career, and so they went to the right schools that facilitated that they're going to have the right career, and they made the right connections, and they spent all of their energy and all the time to put themselves into the situation that they're going to get this dream career, and then they never question this. They never question this, and it all seems to make sense because they never really think, and then they get their career, and then they put all their time, and they have lots of money, and then they're 80 years old, and they think to themselves, why did they do that? What do I get from this? With like all this money, like I feel so empty, I feel so lost. Like what's the point? They have an existential crisis, and they don't know what life is all about, and like. Really, life is about career. I don't get it. And they can tell themselves this lie for long enough, but eventually it's going to catch up with you. And eventually you're going to ask yourself, like, what was I doing? And so this person thought that they knew what they were doing. This person thought that they knew what they were doing when they were young, and their classmates, so that took a year off to go to Israel, and then flipped out and went to yeshiva. And all their classmates are like, then they graduate and they graduate law school, and then they get taken into the first firm, and then they look at you and you say like, what happened? And so what's the answer? The answer is you got confused. There's a friend of mine, Dover Cohen, teaches in Aish.
Yeah.
So he told me that sometimes, like when he's trying to convince people to come to Israel for the year, so they tell him, Rabbi, I would love to come to Israel, but I can't afford to take off a year because I'm going to fall behind. I'm going to fall behind. That's like the line that he hears consistently. I'm going to fall behind because, and that's what he means. Because everybody is it's a race, and first of all, I promise you, the people that started law school 2 years after you, they're going to get into the same firms. There's no law that the earlier you start law school, the better job you're going to get. It does so, but you're scared because they're my classmates. Because they're my classmates, so I can't live with the fact that they're gonna get ahead of me. And so Dover says, he tells them, when you're going the wrong way, so it's actually good to fall behind. If the finish line is that way, and you're going this way, and so everybody's running, and hold on, guys. You're going the wrong direction. Actually, it's a smart thing to fall behind when you're going the wrong direction. So a person has this confusion, and the person starts thinking the person starts asking himself maybe what they've been poisoning with this my whole life, that this is what the purpose of life is, and this is what the success is. Maybe it's a bluff. Maybe that's really not what life is all about. And so these confusions are really cries out to Hashem, and this is really the only way that you can get to something amazing. The only way that to live a beautiful life, to live a meaningful life, is only if you question what everybody else is doing, because normal is boring, right? Because if you're going to do like everybody else, so then you're going to be miserable, because the world is miserable. And so be careful about listening to this pressure of doing like everybody else, because what's going to be at the end of that line? You're just going to be miserable. So it's actually nice to be confused. It's actually beautiful to be confused, because confusion forces us to rethink. Confusion forces us to reassess. Confusion forces us to think out of the box, and confusion is actually a cry out to Hashem. And this is what Rabbi Nachman says: "Tishma Hashem kol yaka." So the confusion is something which is so precious. Okay, so this is something that it sounds crazy, that we should appreciate our confusions. We should appreciate when we don't understand. We should appreciate the fact when we're confused, because it's the only way that we're going to get anywhere. It's the only way that we're going to grow. It's the only way that we're going to expand our way of thinking. Okay? As long as we think we understand, so we're going to be stagnant. And the only way that we're going to think of something good is only if we're confused. Okay, so it's actually a very beautiful thing. If you read something and it's just everything makes sense, so then you're not going to learn something you didn't know before. The only way that you're going to learn something, to find that you become wiser, is only if when you read something and it doesn't make sense. And because it doesn't make sense, you have to think about what could it mean? How could this actually make sense? And to make this collision between what I thought before and what I'm reading and what I'm hearing, and to say, hey, there's a dissonance, and because of the dissonance, I'm confused, and that's the only way that we're going to expand. Right? If you're not going to be confused, then you're going to be paralyzed with the way that you have been looking at life when you were 16 years old. And if you want to stay at a 16-year-old perception of life, so then you can just not be confused. Then you can just understand. You can just know what life is all about. If you want to grow, if you want to evolve, if you want to mature, so the only way to mature is only to be confused. It's there's no other way. So this is the bilbulim that are actually very beautiful. The bilbulim that actually force us to reassess. This bilbulim that actually force us to really expand our mental constructs. Okay, and this is the first thing. Now he comes to the second thing, and that's dochak. Dochak. So we said that he started. His example was the guy that lost his job, or he has a job but the job doesn't pay enough, or he has a store and nobody's buying, and so he has the pressure. He has these financial pressures, and so these financial pressures are, first of all, they cause him confusion. Because he doesn't know where his money is going to come from. So then he's confused. What's the confusion? Like, maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. Maybe this isn't a good idea. Maybe I need to change professions. Maybe I need to maybe I should become a professional beggar. Maybe and so it causes him confusion. And the other thing is it causes him stress. Okay, so there's a dochak. Dochak means stress. So Rabbi Nachman says that the stress is actually a bracha. The stress is actually is a tova la'olam. So what does this mean? What does this mean? So what could be good? What could be good about stress? Okay, so usually we don't like stress. Right? If somebody says I'm so stressed out, so then you say, oh, poor guy, poor girl, let's get rid of your stress. Like say that, and so Rabbi Nachman is saying that there's two sides to the coin. Like he says at the end that there's a bad confusion and there's a good confusion. There's a good stress and a bad stress. That there's that confused, a person that's just confused. So it could be a big curse, because a person that's really confused, the person that if a person doesn't get out of his confusion, so then they're actually just going to get nowhere. There's there's a danger. There's a danger there's danger of reveling in the bliss of confusion. A person could realize that, like, when a person sees the infinite nature of being confused, that life is so complex, life is so multifaceted, that it's like, how can you actually have truth? So a person could start like being obsessed with that to the point that they refuse to do anything. They refuse to take a side, because any side would be negating part of the whole picture. So like they're so on the fence, so then they're never willing to actually take a stance. Okay, and that's tragic. That's stifling, and that's you could have a person that their whole life is just confused, and that's very sad. But there's also the confusion, that without the confusion you would never get anywhere. You would never come to a higher level of understanding. So the same thing is with stress. That we all know the negative nature of stress. We all know that when we have stress, we can't enjoy life properly. Like when we're stressed out, so then we're just not in a good mood, and we think to ourselves like I'm not enjoying. Like I'd rather just be on vacation. I'd rather this is not a happy day. I would have been really very happy if I'll wake up and this is over, right? And like if today we could have just skipped today, just skipped like somebody says like a lot of yeshivas, like they make a lot of stress in the month of Elul. Like the Elul, like it's not a really educationally sound. It's not a good approach. But like a lot of yeshivas, they want to like inspire people, like now or never. And so somebody was saying that you can have this feeling that I just want to just go to sleep, and when I wake up, it's going to be the middle of Sichos. I want to miss the entire Elul. I want to miss Rosh Hashanah. I want to miss Zos Mitzvah. I want to miss Yom Kippur. I want to miss having to build my sukkah and buy my arba minim, and I just want to wake up and go to a Simchas Beis Sheva and just like dance my heart out. That's what and so like there's a stress. We don't like stress. We don't like stress, and so there's a negative side to stress, that it just makes a quality of life just less good. But Rabbi Nachman wants to point our attention to the fact that there's actually something positive about stress as well. Okay, what's good about stress? What's actually good about stress? Want to make one? Elizabeth? Mm-hmm. So what's good about stress? So some people function well under stress. Okay? Some people, it's only because of stress that the stress brings out the best in them. The stress it like they would never be able to accomplish things if not for deadlines. It's not for someone once heard a nice expression that somebody didn't like the word deadline. They preferred the term due date. Because deadline is like, finish it by this time or you're dead. and so due date is like the metaphor of giving birth. That this is the that this is when I'm due. This is when I'm going to have a baby, and that baby is this report that I'm supposed to be giving in to my professor, and like by the due date, so like I'm going to birth a book, I'm going to birth a paper, I'm going to birth a solution, and and it's a very beautiful way of looking at it, because the date, like if it wouldn't have had the date, if it wouldn't have the date, so then I wouldn't have gotten it done. You know, like somebody I know that they were working on their PhD thesis for 7 years. And they were doing nothing for like 6 out of those 7 years. It's just because they didn't have, because like there was no rules. There's like when you're in school, when there's tests, then you're like it's due tomorrow, so I'm gonna stay up tonight until it's done, and it's gonna get done. But when there's no stress, when there's no pressure, so then it just doesn't get done, and it's just keep on procrastinating, and nothing happens, nothing actually gets accomplished. So there's something very beautiful about stress. That stress actually that can have the ability to bring out the best in us, and force us to actually do problem solving, and force us to be creative, and force us to produce, and force us to really come out with the things that we wanted to do, and we had the ability to do it, and we just needed the stress. We just needed the pressure. We just needed the kick in the pants, right? Or something like this is something that like I see all the time in relationships that sometimes like one person is like they want to make some step in their life. They want to take to grow in a certain way, and like they believe in it, and they're into it, and it takes energy to make a switch, to make a shift. And like when I'm used to always getting out of my comfort zone, it takes a certain amount of energy, and so I need some pressure. So like as long as there's no pressure, so then I'm not self-disciplined, and I can't do it, and so the only thing that could actually do it is after pressure. Sometimes what's the pressure? Sometimes the pressure is that they're in a relationship, and like this, like the boy or the girl that they're going out with says, you know, like it's not okay. Like I'm looking for somebody that's keeping Shabbos, and so okay, I'm keeping Shabbos. I'm like, what? I was that just out of nowhere. I was trying to convince you for 5 years, and like nothing, and yeah. So because it's pressure, because the stress is something. The stress is something so beautiful, and so 1 second. All right, so the Rabbi Nachman is talking about the beauty of stress, and how sometimes stress can really do amazing things for things that we wanted to do, things that we've been desiring to actualize in our life, and it's in our heart, it's in our mind, and the only thing is that we just need something to push us. So there's something very beautiful about that stress, and this is why sometimes it's very nice to put ourselves into situations that we have responsibilities, and like that the more that some people they strive when they have more responsibilities, and they're able to bring more out of themselves through the fact that they have these responsibilities. So they'll force themselves into situations that they have these stresses, because through it, and it's a self-imposed pressure. It's a self-imposed pressure. Like I didn't have to sign up for this thing, but now that I signed up, now I have to. So I'll purposely sign up for things that now I have this pressure, because once I have this pressure, then I'm going to do it. Okay. So this is a way of growing, that through motivating ourselves through pressuring ourselves, motivating ourselves through making obligations, that is a way of pushing ourselves forward in a way that we wouldn't have just done it if we're just waiting for it to happen naturally. Okay. So, for example, a person can make a obligation to himself. This is in Hebrew, in Judaism, this is called a Kabbalah. It's called a Kabbalah, and it's such a powerful tool. A Kabbalah means that to take upon yourself a positive decision. What does it mean to accept upon myself? It means that I hereby take upon myself that this is what I want to do. Okay, and so just verbalizing, writing it down, and just making this Kabbalah, making this I don't know what's a better word. Making this positive decision. So the fact that I made the decision is an obligation. Why is it an obligation? Because I don't want to go against my word. I want to be true to myself. So right now, I'm in a state of ecstasy. Right now, I'm in a state of inspiration. Right now, I really want to do something amazing. So in this heightened state, so what can I do? I can make myself a Kabbalah. I can make myself this positive decision and say, from this place of truth, that I accept upon myself to do this. And now what happens? Now, later, when I'm less motivated, when I'm less inspired, so the truth is that I still, if you ask myself, in my tired self, in my unmotivated self, but do you believe in such and such? So he says, yeah, I believe it, just like I'm not in the mood. Just leave me alone. I just want to go to sleep. And then your higher self tells your lower self that, hold on a second, but you committed to it. You made this commitment. So you can't just go to sleep. So you're going to force yourself because you made this commitment. So now you're bringing out something great in yourself that you wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. Like if you were just waiting for it to happen naturally, so then it wouldn't have happened. But because you made this commitment, so then now I'm going to do it. And the proof that it's a good idea is that how do you feel after you do it? After you overcome, if you let's say that you accept upon yourself that every day I'm going to put on phone. You accept upon yourself that I'm going to do this. I'm going to daven. I'm going to do, and so the feeling of getting out of bed and remembering that, oh my gosh, I still have to say Shema, and the feeling of accomplishment of doing what you wanted to do, doing what you've committed to doing, is a feeling you feel great. You feel like this. I really wanted to do this. I feel so much better now than if I wouldn't have. I just needed that commitment to force me because as I was feeling unmotivated, I need something to force me. And so this is exactly what it means, that to commit to something, to commit to something which is going to force me to do good things. And so there's lots of different commitments the person could make. A person could wants to make shorts. He could commit himself to publishing, to making short videos. A person could say, I want to learn one Mishnah a day. A person could say, I want to learn one halacha a day in Chavetz Chaim. A person could commit to for 10 minutes a day, I'm going to make sure that there's 10 minutes a day that I don't speak Lashon Hara. A person could commit to davening one davening a day. A person could commit to saying a parak of Tehillim a day. A person, and there's things that in theory it sounds nice. I would like to be a person that says a parak of Tehillim a day, and it just doesn't happen. But once I make the commitment, then I can't go to sleep before this happening. So then the commitment forces you, and so so now in these Kabbalahs, in these self-imposed stresses that we're putting on ourselves, so there's an important teaching. There's an important teaching from Rabbi Yerucham Levavitz of Mir that he said that he was speaking specifically about Kabbalahs that the person makes on Yom Kippur, because sometimes the person's heightened awareness, the person's heightened inspiration. So he's thank you, we missed you. So in this heightened inspiration, so he sometimes reaches for the stars, and he thinks something unrealistic, and he says, yes, I'm going to learn for 18 hours a day, and the person's going to say I'm going to daven with so much kavanah, and so Rabbi Yerucham said that regarding Kabbalah Yom Kippur, he said first of all he said that you may not let Yom Kippur go by without making Kabbalah. If by the end of Ne'ilah that you didn't make a Kabbalah, then you wasted your Yom Kippur. What if nothing came out of Yom Kippur? If you didn't commit to doing even one little thing better, so then you wasted your Kabbalah. You wasted Yom Kippur. Then you're basically saying that next year is going to be the same thing again. So you didn't grow. So you need to have a Kabbalah. But think of something that you would really, really want to do. And you have a really, really strong idea of something that I would want to improve. So he says, now cut that in half. Whatever you said you were going to do, so turn your Kabbalah, turn your commitment that I'm going to commit to do half of that. Half as much, half as often, whatever it is. Okay, now you cut it in half. Now, cut it in half again. So a quarter of what you originally thought you were going to do. So cut that down to 25% of what you were committing to do, and that should be your Kabbalah. Why? Because the secret to a Kabbalah is the consistency. And if you're going to bite off more than you can chew, and you're going to, because you're in the stars, because you're so inspired, you're not going to be thinking realistically. So then what's going to happen? You're going to get into your routine, and it's going to be something that like, okay, what was I thinking? I can't do that. So because it's something you can't do, so you wasted your time. So that's why the important thing of when you're making these machayim, when you're making these responsibilities, these commitments, so the stress is good, but it needs to be stress that's actually going to motivate you. So if it's something which is not practical, so it's not actually going to motivate you. So it's important to be realistic when it comes to the stresses that we put upon ourselves, because if the stress just causes us to give up, so then we didn't really help anything. Right? Okay. So these are the holy stresses. These are the holy stresses in life, and Rabbi Nachman says that sometimes stress can really mess with us. Sometimes the stress can really just cause us to just paralyze and just the expression of like the deer staring into the lights of the car, and just like I don't know what to do. It's just like I just stay paralyzed until I get killed. And there's another kind of stress that it makes an adrenaline rush. There's another kind of stress that like you become a superpower. You become this like the energies you didn't realize you had, that because you need to perform, so then something just awesome comes out. Something because like when the spotlight is on you, so then it can actually bring out abilities that you didn't realize that you had. So this is something that we shouldn't try to avoid necessarily, that there's a beauty to stress, there's something precious about stress, that it can actually bring us to places that we didn't know we could get. Okay? Because this is Torah 13. Okay, now we come to Torah 14, which I think really complements Torah 13. He says, Ani mekani ma'od ish kosher. I'm very jealous of a person who's just a kosher yid, just like a real okay yid. Shekaran erlich yid. Erlich yid, like it's a Yiddish expression. Erlich literally means an honest yid, but like it's the expression erlich yid is just a person who's straight, a person who just does what he's supposed to do. Like he's not nothing special. There's nothing. He just always does exactly what he's supposed to do. That's just erlich. He doesn't cut corners. He doesn't say the wrong thing. He's not doing miracles. He's not doing anything special. He's just doing what he's supposed to do. That's so beautiful. That's so precious. That he looks like he's just one of us, but he looks like he's just a regular human being with body parts and limbs and intestines. And the truth is that he's something else. He's a different existence. He's a different reality. So now, but he wants to tell us like what's special about this Elech Yid. So like what actually differentiates between him and us. Ha'ikar hu haratzon v'hakisufim. Really, the biggest thing, the difference between the Elech Yid and the regular simple Jew is the haratzon v'hakisufim, that the desire to be a better person. And a person should never think that it's okay. A person should never think that it's okay just to want to be better. Because it's not enough to want to be better, you have to be better. You have to actually change. Because it's true that Hashem forgives you. Whatever you can't do, so then Hashem forgives you. Right? That's a halachic concept. That onus is a person that it's just in a extreme situation. So Rahman Patre, Hashem forgives you. Okay, so whatever you're not able to do, you're not expected to do. Right? So Hashem should give us the ability to accept the things that we can't change, and just like whatever you can't do, you don't have to do. You don't have to. It's okay. So, but that's only if you're trying. But if you're going to say, oh, okay, I can't do it. I'm in a bad situation. A person can't say, it's okay, I'm honest, I can't do it. You have to actually want to do it, and if you want to do it and you can't do it, so then you're okay. But if you just embrace the fact that you can't do it, so then that's very bad. So you need to want to actually do. You need to really, really want to actually accomplish something. But if after you really, really want to do it, you aren't able to do it, so you should know that desire to actually do it, that was something very beautiful. So it's a delicate balance. It's a delicate line between that being okay with the fact that I can't do it. He's saying that you should never be okay with the fact that you can't do it, but if you can't do it, so that's okay. Like you should know that the fact that I really, really wanted to do it, that itself is very beautiful. That's very precious, but you don't actually have to do it. Okay, so he's talking about this is like that's why I really think that there's complements what he was talking about before, that there's a person can never be satisfied with the fact that I'm okay, I'm doing exactly what I need to do. And so this is something that in psychology, so there's a famous therapy that's become popular in recent years called DBT, and dialectical behavior therapy. So the dialectic means that there's two paradoxical mindsets the person has to hold at the same time. So what are these two paradoxical mindsets? So one is what's called the acceptance mentality, the acceptance module. The other is the change module. Okay? So what does it mean, acceptance? So acceptance means that I need to accept that it is what it is. I can't stress. I can't beat myself up because I can't change the past. I can't beat myself up from the fact that I had a better childhood. I can't just I have to stop. I have to just accept that this is it. This is the reality. Stop wishing I had a better past. Stop wishing I had a better parent. Stop wishing I had a better job. I mean, job you can change sometimes, but stop wishing you look differently. Stop thinking you had a different personality. Personality also you can sometimes change, but like stop wishing that you had a different IQ. Just accept it. Just accept it is what it is, and it's not going to be something else. So just embrace it. Just celebrate it. It's beautiful exactly the way it is, and so. And there's a different mentality that if you don't have this mentality, then you will fail. If you can't get this acceptance, if you can't bring yourself to this place that it is what it is, so then you won't be able to do anything in life, because you're just always going to be wishing things were different, and you won't be able to do anything, to accomplish. So what's the danger with this? What's the danger with acceptance? That it can bring you to a place of complacence. It can be said, it is what it is. Like I had a student once that that was her favorite mantra. That it is what it is. So she was staying in her bed for all day, every day, and never leaving her house. Maybe once in 2 weeks she would leave the house, and it is what it is. and that's that's such a tragic place to be when I'm excusing my destructive behavior because it is what it is. So then that's very horrible. So that's why you also need an opposite module, and that is the change module. What's the change module? The change module is that I cannot stay where I am. I need to change. I need to get myself into a place. What is it going to take for me to get to where I want to get? And just push myself, make myself motivations, make myself accountability, and to have a clear vision, to have a clear goal, and to have clear steps, and to have clear deadlines, and to have clear things that are going to make sure that I'm going to get from place A to place B, and I'm actually going to grow, and I'm actually going to change. And so why is this a dialectic? Because it's actually two contradictory modules. It doesn't make any sense, because if everything is okay, so then why should I change? And if I'm going to change, so then I'm saying that everything is not okay. So it's actually a contradiction. It actually doesn't make any sense. And yet you have to be able to hold on to these two contradictory mentalities simultaneously. That everything is perfectly fine. It's okay. It's really perfectly. And yet I'm going to do everything I can do to change. It's okay. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to make peace with each other. And these two opposite mentalities can actually work in harmony. And so Rabbi Nachman is saying that a person can't get too bogged down by the acceptance, because okay, it's okay. I want to be better. It is what it is. I want to be better. And I said, no, not enough to want to be better. You have to be better. You have to change. You have to actually do something. You actually get out of bed and do whatever it takes to facilitate the actual change. And if you're not, so then you're not getting anywhere in life. So so this is what I think, like it's really in the same mentality that before he was talking about how stress and confusion can move you forward, and now he's saying that you need to be result oriented. You need, the person can never be satisfied with I want to be better. It's okay. I want to be better. The person has to actually be better. Do whatever it takes to actually be better. So this is a very action motivated thing, action based way of looking at life. And the Lubavitch Rebbe was the champion of this. The Lubavitch Rebbe was very into doing and doing more and doing more, and he was this motivator. He was this super engine of giving like endless energy to people to keep on doing more. And like those this famous story that Rav Steinsaltz asked the Lubavitch Rebbe once that like Rebbe, I have a problem. I have two. I have too much on my plate. I have three full-time jobs. He was working on translating the Talmud single-handedly, and he was running a whole school of a whole yeshiva system in Israel, and as well a whole yeshiva system in Russia, and all three at the same time. And besides my three full-time jobs, I have dozens, that's minimum 24, dozens of smaller projects that I'm also doing on the side, and it's too much, and like I can't continue, I'm dying, but I don't know what to cross out, so Rebbe, please cross out the things for me so I can know where to put my energy. So you probably guessed what the Rebbe answered him, that a couple of days later he got a response that you should continue everything you're doing and you should do even more. And so he was this powerhouse of concept, like that you can do this, you can conquer the world. The sky's the limit, and just do, and like it's like don't just like satisfy, like, yeah, I want to do. It's so beautiful that you want to be a better person. It's so beautiful. I applaud you for that. and the Rebbe would say, what are you waiting for? He was like a person would come to him. That is the Rebbe that I just raised enough money. We finally built a mikveh for this community, and he said, so like he was assuming that the Rebbe was going to say, well, that's so amazing, and he says what are you doing next? When's your next mikveh? There's no time to just now let's celebrate. Let's take 10 years off to celebrate the fact that I did something good. Okay, let's move on. Let's do. Let's constantly do. And so this is really a change module. This is really what Rabbi Nachman is encouraging us, that it's not enough. It's not enough to just want. I need to actually do. Yisha Riba has a song about this called Achat U'Tamid. That it's about like to Hashem, like I've been trying, I've been struggling for so long, and like enough already. I want to just like that ani רוצה לעשות רצונך כרצונך באמת ומתמים אחת ולתמיד. Like I want to just really do it already. Like enough talking, enough wanting. I want to do it. Like help me get out of this struggle, like get out of the cycle of just wanting to do and failing, and I want to do it already. And he writes, not to want. I want to just want and do. I want to just finish. I just enough. And so this is what Rabbi Nachman is talking about. That we need to be proactive. We need to be result minded, result oriented in our path to success. We need to actually be result minded and be focused on actually doing, and not to be satisfied with just wanting to do. And so this is really the why we need stress in our lives, why we need these motivations, why we need these obligations and commitments, because ultimately we're here to do, ultimately we're here to accomplish. And so bless us all that we should all also we should know that we're awesome. We should know that we're great and it's okay. And like Rabbi Nachman says, like if you can't do it, so then it's also okay. But Rabbi Nachman wants us to know that you've got this. You need to do this. That that person should constantly be growing in the results and to do whatever it takes to get those results. And if it doesn't work out, so that's okay. Like what's beautiful, like this is the thing that softens the blow. That we need to be result oriented. We need to be result minded. But ultimately, if you don't get the results, so then that's fine, because you didn't need to actually get the results. You just need to be result minded. As long as your focus is actually on results, so then that is exactly where Hashem wants you to be. So it's win-win. As long as we are result-minded, so even if we don't actually get the results, so we've won, we've succeeded. So this is what makes it really so much softer. And like this is something that they don't teach you in school, because in school, unfortunately, it's only result-oriented. And the only thing that matters is getting the score, getting the grades, and getting the degrees. And like there is no applause for a person that really wanted to do it, and really tried to do it. There's nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about desire. And on the other hand, the person that does succeed, they didn't want, they didn't care, they didn't try, and they get applauded. And the people that really tried and really they don't get applauded. So this is a backwards world. This is a backwards reality that we're living. But we shouldn't think that it's about the actual result. It's about the desire to bring the actual result. So that's something that a person could have a result without the desire for the result, and he's missing the point of life. Really, the Erlich Yid that Rabbi Nachman is jealous of. So what's special about him is that he really wants to accomplish, that he really wants to grow. So that is something that we can all aspire to. We can, with like actual results, is up to Hashem. But every one of us can really desire to get results. B'ezrat Hashem. L'chaim.